Hello my friends, and welcome back to another Brotato Danger 5 Genetically Modified Overkill run. Hope you're all doing well. Today, I have another stupid holiday run for you, and this one is going to be incredibly stupid. I noticed something funny when I was messing around, and that's that if you have the bull multiple times over, the explosions are offset from one another for whatever reason. That means that if we take the bull, let's say, 20 times, and then we'll throw in 5 artificers to make the explosions bigger, and we grab the sick so that we're constantly taking damage and trigger the explosions, this happens. So basically the map is going to be constantly getting these explosions because not only is the graphic offset, you can see that the actual damage from the explosion is offset. I don't know why this happens because normally the bull explosion is centered directly on you. And it does seem like sometimes when we're right on top of the enemies, we actually don't get the explosion, which is very funny. But this will just create a hilarious pile of explosions. We're going to take some harvesting there. Basically, the only thing I care about is elemental damage to grow our explosion size with the Artificer. So we're just going to be rolling for that, and I'll just take basically economy and elemental damage. We're not going to bother with explosion damage because we already have 875% of it, so we don't need to buy stuff like dynamite. And we certainly don't need more HP or anything like that. So let's just see if we can find some elemental damage. I guess Peaceful Bee is reasonable economy. Baby Gecko could help, so I'll lock both of those. I'm going to roll once just to see if we find anything cool. Because of the random offset, it's actually weirdly difficult to get the explosion onto enemies sometimes. Obviously, this run is not like going to be challenging in particular, but we'll get back to more challenging and difficult runs in the new year, but I'm just having fun with the new GMO update and doing some just sheer nonsense for you guys, so hopefully you are enjoying that. Take more harvesting there, and then let's go ahead and pick these up and then roll. Can we find an elemental damage of any kind? Not yet, but I live in hope. I'm going to roll more heavily for it now that we have a little bit more economy. Just getting a little of that sorted to start with. Honestly, the coupon I bought sort of out of reflex, but that might not have been good because there are so few items we actually care about on this character that actually do anything for us that we probably don't particularly need to buy things like coupon because it's not going to pay for itself that easily. I guess I'll take the harvesting just so we can get harvesting growth, and there we go. Elemental damage, and then we'll take a mutation for more of it. This lumberjack shirt is unnecessary, but has already shown up twice, so I could buy it to maybe reduce the number of bad items in the shop. I guess that's worth it, so I'll pick that up. We'll grab the bag as well, lock the mutation, roll one more time, and that's it. Let's go to the next wave. Scared Sausage, even though we're building elemental damage, you can see our explosions are much bigger now. Scared Sausage is not going to be that useful to this character because while our explosion damage is vastly multiplied by the Artificer, all of our other damage is vastly reduced. So we will never do any damage with any non-explosion sources of damage, but that's how we like it here in the explosive town. Can't find... Okay, come here. Okay, nice. We managed to get the offset, and it clipped that curse alien right at the end. I couldn't find the other curse alien. Roll here. Really hoping for elemental damage. I could pick up some luck, but let's roll one more time and one more time. All right, we are missing. I'm gonna roll one more time because I can roll very aggressively because there's so little, there's so few stats that we actually care about. We'll just take all the elemental damage that we can get and then keep rolling. I guess landmines is some more explosions, so we'll take those. Roll again, and we'll take a tree. I do have a lot of armor because, yeah, we have negative 300 armor because the bull gives us armor, but the Artificer is reducing our explosion modifiers by so much. Also, let me, before this gets just too horrible, I'm going to reduce the opacity of explosions even further. Where's that? Here we go, explosion opacity. So I'm going to drop this down to like 10% because there's going to be so many flashing lights. And hopefully that'll stop this from just getting too horrible. Rather than just giving you all, like, if you're watching this in a dark room and I'm doing a strobe light, that seems a little unfriendly. I love that as we wander around, the explosions are so large that they're just, they're offsetting across the entire map now. I guess we'll take the lens, that's some damage, and then we'll take elemental damage here. We will take these 2 items and roll. Oh, nice. We got an early snowball. Incredible. That's exactly what we want. I should have taken the scar first, unless we find another elemental damage item with this reroll. The scar will have been better. Yeah, so slight error there. I just got so excited to see the snowball, because this is exactly the run we want snowball in. Now, what I would love to see is rip and tear, because that would let us chain explosions together. I will, at some point, turn the explosion opacity back up just a little bit, just so that we can see the offset, because right now it's actually kind of hard to see where the explosions are. So, let me play with the settings a little bit as we go through this run, but you can see that every time we step, we just explode across the entire map. Pretty soon, our explosions will be large enough to cover the whole map. Let me reroll here, and we'll take some luck, and then we're going to buy all of these items, and then roll. And Pocket Factory I'll buy just to get it out of the shop, I think, and then we'll take a Gentle Alien. We don't want a tardigrade, because that's 1 fewer explosion. Ooh, explosion size. That's what I'm talking about. That, of course, is... we're getting explosion size from elemental damage, but plastic explosive still gives us a ton of it. I don't have to go anywhere near these enemies anymore. They're just exploding immediately. The Gentle Aliens are really nice as well, since we kill things so quickly. Just having more of them on the field is going to really help out this character. These gimmick runs are pretty funny. Like, you end up just coming up with a neat idea and just sort of watching it play out more than actually having to, like, pilot the character. Because, of course, you know, we're not in particular danger in this run. I will say that. Let's roll here and roll again. Elemental damage. I'm going to keep missing elemental damage in the shop, probably. I'll take some move speed, actually. Move speed will help a little bit, just for picking up materials, mostly. And then let's roll. So I'm not buying melee or range damage unless it sort of shows up for free, because we just don't need it. We just need elemental damage. The base damage of our explosions, of course, is affected by that, but our base damage, the base damage of our explosions is going to be massive, because just building elemental damage is going to scale it dramatically, and the Artificer increases all our explosion damage so much. Also, because these are separate explosions, I think they do... they will hit enemies multiple times. So if there's an enemy that has more than 400 health, I think all 10 or all 20 of the explosions will hit it. Crit chance would be good too, because then we could blow things up even more effectively. None of these enemies have 400 health yet. How large are the landmine explosions? Pretty big, I would say. So we're not at the point of our explosions covering the entire map yet, but I'm pretty sure that we will get there by the end of the run, and that is my goal here. Let's take a metal plate. Oh, right, this just reduces my armor. We take 95% additional damage, so armor scales towards... I'm actually going to recycle this, because I think the crit chance will be more damage than the melee damage would give me. Armor scales towards 100% additional damage. You can never take more than double damage if you have negative armor. So that's why you saw my armor decrease there, but we still are only taking 95% extra damage when we have minus 300 armor. Take the fish hook, fertilizer, and pocket factory, and now we have a fish hook. Don't think any of these we want. I'm basically going to be looking for... Ooh, so this would be a way to add some challenge back into the run, maybe, is reduce my my HP to, like, 1 with the stone skin. I think I'm going to pass on that, though. That's just not really what this run is about. We're going to take the corrupted shard, and then roll again. I will take a peaceful bee, and I'm going to lock the padding and see if we can get that cursed, and lock the diploma and see if we can get that cursed, because either of those would be awesome to curse. My goal here, of course, is just to get my explosions to cover the entire map. That's the plan. I'm enjoying watching the enemies just burst as the explosions get to them. So I'm still trying to figure out the offset, like what the rules are for the offset. Because it seems like the center of the explosions is offset, but as we're increasing the explosion size, the offset isn't increasing. Otherwise, we'd have explosions like much further away, and already the entire map would be covered in explosions. So I'm very curious as to why it offsets the explosions when we have the bowl multiple times over, and what the rules are for doing so. Because it doesn't seem to be behaving where it's like going from the where it's based on the explosion size or anything like that. Sadly, no curse here, but I shouldn't have taken the padding. Unless it was cursed. I kind of wanted the cursed padding. Although getting a unique out of the pool isn't a bad idea either, so I'll take the ugly tooth as well, just to get the uniques out of the pool, and then we'll take that. Lock the boiling water, potentially a cursed item for us, and then metal I'm going to lock just for the movement speed. Alright, so now our whole screen is covered, but I don't think the whole map will be covered. Something that's kind of funny is I think... because I record at very slightly higher contrast than my monitor, because it looks better on YouTube, I can actually see the explosions more clearly outlined on the recording preview than on my monitor, with the explosion opacity turned down lower. The funny little artifact of my recording setup. If only there was a way to get offset constant damage. If you take the sick multiple times over, it just does 2 damage per second. So it doesn't give you the offset damage, I think. I will take the bloody hand though, just to kind of see what happens there. And then let's take this, and we will take the muscly dude just for extra damage, I guess, and elemental damage, and let's take some move speed, and then roll, and sure, 1 elemental damage coming right up. We do have 2,000 regeneration, so I could safely take Weird Ghost, but we're not going to. What's the pity timer on our fishhook? 20% already? And let's roll here. We will take a treasure map, and not, I guess, is a unique that the bull can take that nobody else can, because, of course, the bull doesn't buy weapons, so let's take the knot. Ice cube, so this does count as elemental damage, the bull explosions, so I will lock the ice cube, because anything that scales with elemental damage will work with ice cube. Obviously, we don't need to increase the enemy damage, but it's just fun to do so, so let's grab that, and then we'll get some more curse, and go to the elite wave. There it goes, off screen. Okay, so if my explosions are covering the map, then we won't see enemies coming from off-screen. So they aren't yet. Currently, we don't have explosions that cover the entire map. I also don't actually know if the explosion will calculate that properly. Projectiles do continue off the screen. Explosions sometimes don't in Brotato, and the bull explode, which I think is a bug. They're supposed to continue off the screen, but I have seen where they don't. So I'm curious if that will happen here as well. We're also, as you can see, just taking 2 damage per second. So even though we have Bloody Hand, or if we had taken the Sick multiple times over, we still wouldn't be getting twice as many triggers on our explosions, because all of those damage per second things just stack to increase the amount of damage you're taking, not the frequency of damage you're taking. Greek Fire obviously doesn't do anything for us, so we'll recycle that, and then I'll take an elemental damage. We could have taken the Greek Fire to pull a unique out of the pool, but that's much less important with low-level uniques, or with high-level uniques. I don't really need any of these, so let's keep rolling. Eye Surgery gives us elemental damage, and let's roll again. Energy Bracelet gives us elemental damage, and we will roll again. And Fuel Tank gives us elemental damage, so we're starting to find elemental damage items. So, definitely the entire screen covered in the explosions at this point. And I can see materials just floating in from off-screen entirely, so it looks like the explosions are properly continuing off the screen in this instance. Because we have baby geckos, so sometimes enemies spawn outside of our screen radius, and those enemies die immediately. We did take 25 damage there from a lamprey, that group of lampreys that sort of spawned right on top of us. One thing that I know is going to be funny is the comments on this video being like, why didn't you make a slightly more optimal choice in this shop? It's like, are you watching what's happening here? We don't really need to make the most optimal choices. I'm gonna roll here and roll again and keep on rolling for elemental damage. And then we will roll some more. Not finding it, so we'll just take some percent damage there. We did get a cursed fuel tank, so that's pretty nice. I'm going to take the blindfold for the crit chance, just because I do want to boost my crit chance. Oh, wow. First, plastic explosive, rip and tear, and coupon. So what I'm actually going to do is buy the plastic explosive and then lock the coupon on the rip and tear for the fishhook, just to see if we can get those cursed. The more possible cursed items that can show up, the better, of course, so... Sometimes it can be better to buy a cursed item when you have fishhook, just to increase the chance of over a non-cursed item, even if normally you would buy the non-cursed item first. So, like the coupon, for example, obviously you would normally buy coupon before another item, but now we get a chance at a cursed coupon because we're doing it in this order. You'd get Sift's Relic or more baby geckos would be really nice, obviously. The more explosion size we have, the better. Loving just seeing the materials just float in from off the screen there. I'm gonna go over here and pick up some of these materials that are on the ground. Shockingly, making very little money this wave, in part because I'm not picking up all the materials, but in part because the Abyss just has less money on it. So you end up with lower income, even if you're clearing every enemy as soon as it spawns. Excuse me. You just end up with lower income than you do on the normal map. Okay, neither got cursed, sad, but we'll take a rip and tear here for even more explosions. And then let's go ahead and pass on all this stuff. I'll take a silver bullet. Silver bullet sounds kind of fun. We'll take an alien tongue as well. Especially if I get that cursed, it would be pretty nice. And then we'll buy some crit chance and go to the next wave here. Watching that elite just sort of sail in and then burst. As we step on each of these enemies, of course, we get additional explosions. So if I time it right, I can get an extra set of explosions by walking into enemies to get even more damage output, which is kind of a fun little mini game as well. I'm kind of regretting taking 5 Artificers, by the way. If I'd taken just 1, then there'd have been more of a smooth progression, and this would have been, I think, a little bit more satisfying overall. Obviously, still having a great time just, like, covering the entire screen in explosions. But I think only 1 Artificer, if you want to play this run yourself, I recommend that so you can watch the explosions slowly grow across the screen instead of seeing them just sort of jump to covering the whole screen, like is what happened here. I guess I'll take this because that is elemental damage, and I will take the... I'm going to take the Sharp Bullet and lock the Propeller Hat, again, for the purposes of the Fish Hook. We don't care about the Sharp Bullet, but I do want to get the Unique out of the pool. Neither of those we would buy if they got cursed. I guess I would probably have bought both of them just for the curse. So I should probably have just locked both those items, since anything that gets cursed we will probably buy. I should pretty much just lock everything at the end of every wave. This character doesn't have to be picky about what we're buying, so we can afford to just not reroll that frequently, or give up some rerolls in order to try to get more curses. And curse is one of the few stats that actually like matters to the character at all. So just trying to maximize that is probably the way to go now that we have Fish Hook. Taking 50 damage a hit. The funny thing is, this character, because of the negative armor and because you can't buy tardigrade, is not actually a very good Endless character. We're taking double damage from everything, and sometime around Endless Wave, like 30, enemies are doing 300 damage a pop and are just going to kill this character. And you won't be able to get the defenses to outscale that because you can't use tardigrade. So this character will actually be pretty bad for Endless mode, which is kind of funny. Sure, I'll take some luck there. Nice. Cursed Alloy for 6 more elemental damage. And then we'll take this, take some crit chance, which actually improves our armor rate when I buy the sunglasses. And then we will lock this and roll again, take a lure, and that's it. Oh no, I was gonna lock all the items. I just like completely forgot that I should just be locking stuff for curse. Just spent some time talking about that and then immediately forgot. Oh well. Explosions are now definitely large enough to cover the whole map, and the Rip and Tear explosions are fun because they have a very slight time delay, so sometimes more groups of enemies will have respawned. You can hear, if you listen to the enemy death sounds, you can hear them dying off screen to the Rip and Tear explosions after they've died to after some of them have died to our bull explosions. You can't see it happening because that usually is so far away that it's off screen, but you can hear it happening, which is also very funny. Increasing enemy health doesn't matter, and XP could be useful. We'll take a metal plate here, of course, because it's cursed. We'll recycle that. I don't want dodge on this build, really, so let's roll and roll again. Rolling one more time. Still no... Still nothing in terms of elemental damage, but we did get an energy bracelet. We got a pearl, which I'm going to grab. That's just fun overall. So this tardigrade would be pretty good if we didn't have constant self-damage. Also on mobile, apparently, the self-damage doesn't break tardigrade. So if you're playing on mobile, you can still take tardigrade and it will work only against enemy hits. To be honest, I think that is how it should work regardless. I think the fact that if you have taken Bloody Hand or Blood Donation, you sort of can't buy the only important Endless Mode item is a weird balancing error in the game. This is a bit of a soapbox sidetrack for me, but Tardigrade definitely should not go away off of self-damage. It just doesn't... It's one of the few sort of anti-synergies and anti-fun things that the game has put in. Brotato is usually quite good about making things work in the player's favor, which is the type of design that a lot of games are really pushing now, where if you think a thing should work a certain way in order to make the game more fun and make your character more powerful, then it does. Because that's just fun and good for the player, makes games more intuitive to play and whatever. Tardigrade not helping you when you have self-damage, I think, is a bit of a weaker design, because it just means that you have these traps when you're trying to do certain things, and also it means that this item is sometimes just totally useless, even for like casual play. It's not a very good item in level 20 play, but for someone who's newer to the game, just buying this and then having their shield immediately disappear feels really bad. So I think all that to say, this just shouldn't break when you have self-damage. I'm going to give up my first 2 explosions, though, just for 3 curse. So this does make us weaker when we pick up the tardigrade there. But just buying curse, I think, is worth it anyways. Don't want to lose elemental damage with the salt water, so let's do that. And we'll take the sunken bell. If we could get the Kraken's Eye, where we explode on self-damage, that would be even more explosions. So there you go. So you can see it makes us weaker. We have to wait 2 seconds for our first explosion, because it has to take the tardigrade off first. But we got extra curse, so it's worth it. Enemies spawn, enemies despawn, enemies spawn, enemies despawn. More of them despawn over time as we get the rip and tear explosions. Spawn, despawn, spawn, despawn. It's a magic trick. One thing that you might not know, oh, hey, explosion damage and size. Yes, please. We'll take that. And alien tongue, that'll just help with our pickup radius. We don't need that. Take the elemental damage. One trick that you might not be super aware of is standing on your own landmines in order to trigger them manually. That's something that can be really useful if, obviously, in a more difficult build, that can be really useful, because you can use it to make sure that the landmine goes off when a bunch of enemies are around. So when we get one of the landmines to spawn, so you can stand on it, and then it doesn't explode until you step off of it. So we can here keep it depressed, and then as enemies get closer, you step off it and get the landmine explosion. So that can be used to make sure that your landmine is hitting multiple enemies, and if you're doing a screwdriver build or something, that's a very useful trick to know. I'm going to take this run for just a little spin in endless mode. Oh, wow, look at all those explosions, or those projectiles. So we'll probably do like 10 levels of endless, just for fun, because this build is just so nonsensical. We're just clearing the waves as soon as enemies spawn. Making still shockingly little money, which is just goes to show how difficult it is to make money on the Abyss. Even with this run, we are still not getting that much money per wave. Scarf, we don't really care about. We don't really care about any of this stuff. Cursed Mirror we can grab. And so this will give us a price reduction, and if there's any unique items that we find, we can keep the price reduction. Do I just want double Cursed Injection with the Cursed Mirror? We actually lose curse when we do that, but I think I'm just going to take double pearl. That just increases the chance that we get more pearls in boxes, which is, of course, what we want. And then we'll lock a blindfold, we'll lock wandering bot, and we'll lock scared sausage, but not the lost duck. I haven't been locking things for the fishhook because I'm really just rolling for elemental damage. I said I was going to, but I sort of have decided against it. Now I'm locking the scared sausage, though, because it's unique. So I just want to pull unique or limited. So I just want to pull limited items out of the shop because we're going into endless mode. So we want to be able to find more of the items that we actually want. I'm very interested to see how well the snowball performs. I'm going to check it on wave 20 here. Because snowball, of course, is an item that normally underperforms, but we got it very early and have been hard buying elemental damage. So I'm interested to see how it works out in sort of the absolutely optimal circumstance for snowball. Because usually that item is quite weak. It just doesn't give you that much elemental damage over the course of most runs, because you just don't find enough to make it work. Nice, we got a Pearl. That's exactly what we were hoping for. There we go. One more elemental damage from the snowball. And let's reroll. No, I'll just take the luck here. So let's take a look at the snowball, which is down here. So we've gotten 11 elemental damage, which is obviously quite good, but this is the best possible scenario for this item. So still a little disappointing to see it only giving us 11 elemental damage when we have been buying every piece of elemental damage we see and pretty much not buying anything else. We're just hard rolling for elemental damage and have still only found 11. Just like significantly less than you'd expect from that item. I guess I'll take Retromation's hoodie and I'll lock the shackles. We can maybe get a cursed shackles. Roll again. Sure, I'll take a coupon and lock a blindfold. Buy cute monkey and reroll. And then go to the next wave. Nope, go to endless mode. Because I said I wanted to do endless mode. Came very close. Nice, both bosses dying in one shot. I like the 2-second delay that we have because of the tardigrade, because it gives them time to see it coming. It feels very like tick, tick, boom. Oh, did those? I think those cursed lampreys survived one explosion. So enemies are now, some enemies now have enough health that they survive one of the explosions. Of course, if they get multiple explosions layered on top of them, then they're going to die. But some of them are surviving at least a single explosion. It is weird that some enemies are only taking damage from a single explosion, because all our explosions should cover the whole map. So I'm not entirely sure how that's happening, but the weird way that it's getting offset probably means that it is just doing something where maybe some of the explosions are now appearing actually off the map and not on the map at all. Like if they're getting pushed to the edges of the explosion radius, which it didn't look like they were before, but it's very hard to tell with weird GMO interactions. I mean, the game wasn't really meant for you to do this, obviously. I'd be very interested to see why that was. Yeah, explosions we will take. Sure, cursed focus. We'll take a curse here. We will recycle, take a pearl. I'll take the lens, pearl. Penguin's a limited item, so we'll grab that. And once you have a couple pearls, they really start snowballing and you get more and more pearls. Sure, I'll take some luck here, and then we will roll. Roll again. Roll again. Really not finding much, so I'll just take some HP. We'll take Piggy Bank just to pull it out of the pool. Same with the shackles, and then we'll buy this. Campfire is another elemental damage item. So very happy to see that, of course. Potato doesn't really do anything for us. It's not elemental damage, so we don't care about it. Go ahead and buy the propeller hat, and then keep re-rolling. Black Flag, this is going to be a lot of money for us. This is part of why we've... I could have rolled to curse the Black Flag, but we're probably only going to go to like wave 30, so I'm not going to worry about the like extreme long-term value of getting cursed items. We'll lock this, and sure, we'll lock that because it's cursed and it's unique. I could lose 20 speed to pick up the Estes couch, and that would cost me a little bit of regeneration. Or actually give me a little bit of regeneration, but I think Estes couch is still too bad to pick up, so we're just going to go to the next wave. In extremely long endless runs, you'll end up buying Estes couch because you won't care about your regeneration at all. And it's just a unique that you can pull out of the pool to make it more likely that you find tardigrades and and so on. Mostly just tardigrade in order to go as long as possible. I'm still really enjoying how, as the enemies spawn at the beginning of the wave, there's like a 2-second pause, and then we start exploding them. You know, we do the 3, 2, 1. I think that's very thematic for this character. Sure, I'll take a giant belt and a cursed. I'm not going to take another tardigrade because that would ruin the 3, 2, 1. And then let's roll again here. We'll take a cursed item. Let's roll again here. Roll again. Keep on rolling. More luck. Yes, please. I'll take a goldfish because then we can re-roll and potentially lock and curse a couple items, which would be pretty nice. I guess I'll try to grab the seashell. It's a unique. And the blood leech we won't take. 3, 2, 1. Boom. How much damage does our explosive turret do? Okay, it looks like about 600 damage. We don't have that much engineering, so its base damage isn't very high. We're now at the point where our explosions are so large that if we step on an enemy, even with the explosion opacity turned down extremely low, it's still just like lighting up my whole office with the glare from my monitor. I keep doing that thing where, like, a light will shine on the wall behind you, and you'll see it out of the corner of your eye, and be like, what's happening behind me? But, of course, I am doing this to myself. Let's recycle, recycle, recycle. Now, if this was a live stream, everyone in the chat would be going, no, he's behind you. Look backwards. It's real. Let's lock Dangerous Bunny and Treasure Map, of course, and Elemental Damage as well. Actually, the funniest way to end this video would have been to do that joke and then immediately cut the recording. And just post it with no explanation. Lost opportunities. The more loot aliens we get as well, of course, the easier it is for Snowball to generate value. So if we had found a few more of those earlier, because items that you get from crates still generate Snowball value. They still work for the Snowball. Ooh, spicy sauce, that's more explosions. And of course, more pearls is good. We'll take elemental damage. So the fact that we didn't find that many loot aliens early, and just overall our economy didn't get off to like the most incredible start, meant that that compounds as well, so that makes the snowball worse. I guess it is a snowball, so of course it's going to get bigger as you get bigger, and if you aren't getting bigger, then it won't. Let's lock the treasure map and go to wave 24. And there we go. So I think we actually do die there if we don't have invincibility frames, because there were like 8 projectiles and one of them hit me for 107 damage. So if we didn't have invincibility frames, all of those projectiles hitting me when I stood still would have just one-shot me. And we would have died immediately, which is pretty funny. It's the perils of playing with such negative armor, is even with 530 health, you can still die. Obviously, this build really can't because we have 2,000 healing every second or whatever. But the amount of incoming damage is so high that if you don't have this much regen, you can actually still die no matter how much your HP is, which is why armor is such an important stat. It mitigates damage much more than maximum HP in most circumstances, and especially on the Abyss, where enemy damage is so high, I highly recommend leaning more into armor and ignoring maximum HP. Oh, I should be taking the Sad Tomato. We heal it back instantly. I don't know why I'm passing on Sad Tomato. Let's go ahead and recycle the leather vest here, take more pearls, and then we will roll again. Roll again. Come on, give me some elemental damage. Nice, we did get a cursed treasure map. That's kind of awesome. Take a diploma. I'm gonna roll again. Torture is another one that you'll end up taking in really long endless runs, typically, because it's a unique. You want to pull it out of the pool. While it doesn't do anything, it also doesn't hurt you at all, because in long endless runs, any damage you actually take is lethal. So it doesn't matter if you get the torture, because it doesn't hurt you. Let's take the spyglass and the campfire and lock metal detector and helmet. Spyglass, by the way, you want to lock and try to get cursed if you're going for really deep endless runs. Critically important item for extremely long endless runs, because the reroll expense is by far your biggest expense in endless mode, because you're just rolling for tardigrades over and over and over again. So making sure that you can get the cursed spyglass as and thus not taking spyglass unless it's cursed is a really important strategy for endless mode. I do like how tough the cursed anglerfish or walruses are, where they can, at this point, still withstand, not the main explosion from my character, they don't have 7,000 health, but they can withstand the explosions from, like, the explosive turret and from the landmines and stuff, which are still doing massive amounts of damage. Yeah, we'll take elemental damage. Oh, we have positive % damage also, which I wasn't even paying attention to that. We somehow got the positive % damage, which with 5 artificers should be quite difficult to do, because we had minus 500% damage. But because we bought so much luck and have all these pearls, we're now at positive % damage as 5 artificers, which is kind of awesome. I'm gonna go to the next elite wave, I think. So we're just gonna do this. Kraken's Eye. This is exactly the item we were hoping for. Yet more explosions. And we will then take none of these. I guess I could have taken the peacock. It would have been fine. I'll take the fuel tank and the cauldron, though. Roll again. And bone dice. Cursed bone dice. Another good item for really long endless runs. So something to keep in mind, because it just generates constant value. Lock the starfish and go to wave 26. Basically, you're looking for items that just generate constant long-term value when you're doing really deep endless mode runs. So things like bone dice become really valuable because you're just re-rolling a ton. It's going to give you hundreds or thousands of % of bonus damage over the course of the many, many waves that you'll be playing. I really like seeing when a group of enemies get exploded by me, and then a couple more respawn, and the rip and tear explosions take them out, like in between the rhythm of the explosions. Is pretty funny. You can also see some of these enemies are starting to require multiple explosions to kill. Some of them are taking more than one hit, like those guys, because many of these enemies just have more than 10,000 health. Yep, more crit chance, still useful. Celery tea, pearl. I'll take a peacock. Wings. I guess we do lose an elemental damage, which is kind of painful, but of course it's a cursed item, so we want it. Let's keep rolling and take some more elemental damage, take the bone dice and the starfish, and roll a little bit more. Another rip and tear, amazing. And then we'll take a ritual and a scared sausage and roll again. Instantly losing HP, bone dice, even cursed, these bone dice hate me. We have a 10% chance to lose HP, 50% chance to get damaged, right? So the odds are still the same, but of course you get more damage when you succeed. So the average is way better. Nonetheless, we are still not getting that. Vigilante Ring, another very important item for long endless mode runs. Let's just go ahead and lock all this stuff. And you know what? Let's buy Este's couch. Those two trees spawned on top of each other. I don't know if you saw that. Trees do spawn in clusters, so you'll sometimes see groups of trees spawn on top of each other. But it's rare to see them spawn directly on each other like that. Because trees spawn in batches, and also there is the way that the spawn location works. There's like a randomized offset, but it is slightly more likely to spawn in certain places, so you'll often see trees spawn in exactly the same place, or in similar places, but rarely in exactly the same place like that. You saw there that we took a hit, and it took us a while to heal back up from it, so we're starting to run into the point where this run actually starts suffering in endless mode. Let's take some more elemental damage, and some more damage, more elemental damage. Oh wow, everything got cursed? Amazing. Alright, so now we're at -4 speed, so we would have to build our speed back up. Again, Dangerous Bunny, another item that you would want to lock and try to curse, rather than just buying like we did. But that's only if you're going for really long endless mode runs. I'll lock this cape, of course, because it's a cursed item, and roll again. And lock a metal detector and go to the next wave. So let's see what happens. There we go. When all the explosions hit the elite at once, it still dies. Or both elites, rather. One of them just died off screen and I never saw it. I was only paying attention to the shark one. It might have briefly appeared on screen, but there should have been 2 elites there. Curious how much damage I take if I walk into a projectile. Oh, we gotta dodge. So it looks like... hard to tell, because the numbers are getting blocked, but it looks like about 200 damage per hit that I'm taking at this point. Of course, when we're taking this damage per second, that red number sometimes supersedes the red number from the damage we take from an enemy hit. So it can be hard to actually get the number to pop up. There we go. That was about 157, I think, or 2. I guess it was a little more than... yeah, it was a little more than 100. Notice also that we healed up quite a bit, but then stopped healing at the end of the wave as the wave ended, the like post-wave screen ended. That'll happen when you have this much in the way of healing. Handle, we still don't want, even cursed, because lower enemies is just not fun. And we're not taking any items that reduce our elemental damage unless they're really good. Sure, I'll take a jetpack, getting back to positive move speed. And then we'll roll here, and roll again, and roll again, and take 5 more elemental damage. And we'll take 10% damage, and keep buying some more items. I'll take a wisdom just to pull it out of the pool again, and fairy similarly. Charcoal we'll take, and then we'll keep rolling here. Vigilante ring we would lock. Metal I guess I would lock just to get my move speed back up. Even though it cost me armor, but that obviously doesn't matter. We're at minus 300 armor, so we're always going to have negative armor. Black Flag is so much money also. the amount of economy that you get when you find that item. I think that Black Flag, I mean, it's obviously, it's a level 3 item, so it's not, like, too horrible. I think it could maybe use a nerf because it is so night and day when you have that item in the Abyss and when you don't. Like, your economy just gets so drastically improved. I don't think they should nerf it because I think it's a really fun item, so honestly, I'm happy just having it be an item that just wins you the run. But from a strict balance standpoint, it's almost certainly too powerful. Yep, more enemies is more good, and then we'll take more elemental damage and more elemental damage and roll, and more elemental damage, but decreasing in quantity each time. All right, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 there, or 1, 2, 4, 5 there. We got all the possible amounts of elemental damage. And then we'll buy a bunch of cursed items. A wolf helmet, incredible. We'll take the penguin as well. And then keep rolling. Take another cursed item here and roll again. Take a cursed jelly, because why not? It doesn't give us any HP because we have no items or no weapons, but it's one curse. And we would lock the plastic explosive. In fact, we would lock all this stuff. But we are going to stop after wave 30, I think. Several of those elites lived slightly longer than I expected them to. Just for fun here on this last wave, you might want to turn down the brightness on your monitors because I am, or your phone or whatever you're watching this on, because I'm going to turn up the explosion opacity to, let's say, 35%, just because I want to see what it looks like. And that is bright. Even at 35%, that's quite bright. Not going to do it at 100% because I care about your eyes. You might not be seeing it as brightly as I am, by the way, because YouTube does have, some of the way that it encodes videos reduces extreme peaks of brightness for precisely this reason, so that people can't post, you know, like dangerous footage intended to give people seizures or anything like that. So you might not see it as brightly as I am, but it's very bright here. Nice. We got our last pearl, and we found Sift's relic right at the end. And then we got a few more things, and then let's go take a look. Ooh, Frozen Heart's a nice one. We're gonna go take a look at what our economy looked like from our various items. Coupon saved me 3k, not bad. 3k gained from the bags, also very nice. And the snowball ended up with 24 elemental damage. Again, kind of disappointing. I mean, that's a lot of elemental damage, but given that we got snowball so early and bought elemental damage at every opportunity, except the times when I forgot to, that the amount of elemental damage we got here out of 30 waves, I feel like could be higher. Recycling machine for 1,000 materials, pretty nice. Let's see, Dangerous Bunnies saved us 676. Somewhere in here, there's a spyglass we can check as well. Curious how that did on 30 waves of like pretty heavy rerolling. There it is. So yeah, 109. So you can see that spyglass, even when you go into endless mode and are rerolling pretty heavily, it takes a long time to pay for itself. So this is pretty much an endless only item. It just will never be effective to buy this in a like just a normal Danger 5 run, because it just takes so long to pay off. Obviously we made back our money on the spyglass, but only by a little bit, and it took many waves to do that, so that's money we weren't spending on getting stronger in the meantime. That's why I have stopped buying this item for the most part in normal Danger 5 runs. 1.5 million damage from the Kraken's Eye, that's pretty fun. And did our Sunken Bell ever go off? We did have one, right? I'm curious if it ever went off and did damage. Not curious enough to try to find it after I've scrolled past it, presumably, though. All right, my friends, I hope that you have enjoyed this this look at these ridiculous explosions. And of course, if you have, feel free to leave a comment and hit like. Helps me, of course, with the algorithm, so I appreciate you taking the time to do that. We'll be back with more challenging runs, but this has been an amazing year of Brotato, so thank you for sticking with me, and here's to many more to come. Cheers, folks, and I will catch you next time.